Yeah, so I want to jump on it while I got
Police
the
would
chance,
suggest
you know
that we
what I'm
join
saying?
Alabama family groups.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go to the meeting,
That's right, that's right. Two thrills.
but you
right
drove
like
by
that.
someone
That's
else's
right.
drinking. You might be surprised that you can learn in an
Yeah, I'm
Alabama family
tired, man.
from
I'm
people
tired,
just
you
like
know,
you.
but I'm working on it, so I make sure it get good this time. Appreciate it, man. I'll keep you in the loop, all right? Thanks, man.
Find out smart about mortgages, smart about college.
When it comes to your money, whatever you want to get smart about, you can find it at smartaboutmoney.org, a free online resource from the nonprofit National Endowment for Financial Education. Smartaboutmoney.org, the easy place to start when you want to get smart.
My husband drinks with friends after work. He has that cold. And a few more while we watch TV. Council recommended I try Al-Anon.
Just need 30 seconds. By the time the commercial's over, I'll be ready.
Okay.
Is someone's drinking breaking your heart? You might be surprised at what you can learn at an Al-Anon family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-ALANON or go to alanon.org.
At the U.S. Department of Education's Office of Federal Student Aid, we provide more than $150 billion each year in grants, loans, and work study funds, making higher education possible for anyone. Federal Student Aid, proud sponsor of the American Mind. Learn more at studentaid.gov.
Imagine a time when no one person had a purpose disease, and no family suffers the tragedy of Alzheimer's. Some of the best minds in America are doing more than imagine. American Brain Foundation is seeking to find cures. For life without brain disease isn't just something we can imagine, it's something we can know. Join Kevin Sorbo in the fight to cure brain disease.
I'm ready when you are.
American Brain Foundation.org.
It's been a while, huh?
Yeah.
It's definitely been a while. Let's do this the way it's supposed to be. Good evening and welcome to the Real Estate Plate. As always, I'm your host, Nick Sakalis, coming to you live from the WGBB studios here in Merrick, New York.
Sorry, Nick.
What's that?
I said, sorry. We just switch one to mother mic. I don't know what happened. Switch to one mic there.
You gotta switch the mic.
I'm sorry about that.
Well, you know what? It's only fitting. It's only fitting. It's only fitting for me to be able to have some kind of technical difficulty. There always has to be something. It wouldn't be a proper real estate plate if there wasn't. So let's do this again. Let's do it for the radio people. Let's do it for the people watching on YouTube and on Facebook. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Real Estate Plate. As always, I'm your host, Nick Sakalis, coming to you live from the WGBB studios here in Merrick, New York. There we go. We got it, right? The entire AM world could hear me now. It's been quite some time, huh?
Yeah.
Last time I was on, Cuomo was the governor still. Cuomo was still the governor at that time.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not anymore.
Well, I don't know if it's fortunate or unfortunate, but I'll tell you something. I had an axe to grind with him at that point. I was one of the few people to vocalize how unhappy I was. And hey, it is what it is, Not that a lot of things are going to change at this point with that, but I will say this: we got a new mayor coming in. We got a new mayor, and maybe things will change here in New York. Maybe the real estate world will change here in New York now that we have a new mayor. I hope. I truly hope. Because if we don't, it's going to be the same old news. But I'm not going to make this political unless I have to. I'm going to be on good behavior. I'm gonna put the muzzle back on my face and not say anything like that's gonna get me a fine. Nothing like that. Nothing whatsoever. But that being said, we're gonna be diving into a lot of stuff. Not only today, in the upcoming weeks. We got some great scheduled programs coming in next week. We're going to be actually diving in deep as far as a full retrospective of changes that we've had in the real estate world since we've been out of lockdown and quarantine. I think a lot of people are going to be interested in hearing this, especially people that are on in the consumer part of it, sellers and buyers. I think they're going to want to hear how much things have really changed, because they have considerably. And I'm going to dedicate the entire show to that next week. There's a lot of things that have changed here with our channel themselves here on YouTube. One, we are monetized. This happened actually prior to that. But besides being monetized, we have the opportunity to be doing super chats here. So this is actually a really nice feature that's allowed through the channel. Anybody that puts in super chats, they are appreciated. The way to do it, you click that little $sign that's right next to the live chat, and you'll be able to help contribute to keeping the show going. You know, everything that is going to be put in through the super chats is directly going to go back into the show itself. So it's not going to go into my pocket. It's going to go into the better development and changing the show. Another thing that I've had a lot of questions on was that T-shirt I wear all the time with the eviction moratorium. Who's going to pay? Well, I made that personally for me, just to make a statement. And apparently a lot of more people are interested in that, and they wanted to have their own shirt. So I did put the link in the description, and I am going to drop it into the live chat. If anybody wants to go and visit that, that's through Teespring. It's a third-party vendor that actually allows you to design your own stuff. I designed it through there, and you could have your own T-shirt to make a statement out of it. I actually made a hoodie out of it as well, so that was pretty cool. You know, so you know, I don't want to make a joke out of it, because honestly, it's been a challenge for landlords throughout the state, throughout the country, but you know, more than anything here in New York, it's been quite a challenge. It's been very difficult to be able to learn how to operate and run your business, because as much as people hate to hear it, it is a business. It is a business. By the way, I still have not gotten my endorsement from Starbucks, and I'm waiting for that endorsement. I am waiting for it. It's not coming in, but I'm going to get it eventually. By hook or by crook, I'm going to get it. But that being said, it's been quite a challenge. You know, for everybody that doesn't know, the eviction moratorium has been delayed time and time again throughout the year from last year. Now we're looking to get this lifted in January. And for the first time since we've gone into lockdowns and moratoriums and everything of the like, I have somewhat confidence and some type of belief that they'll actually go through with it this time. Maybe I'm being naive. Maybe, I don't know. It is possible. Everything is possible. Everything is impossible in this world. But I feel that they'll actually go through with it and actually start allowing things to go through the process the way they need to. You know, you have too many landlords right now that have been seriously damaged. And when I say seriously damaged, I mean beaten to a pulp. You know, the mandates, the state, the city has taken away their livelihood, their ability to be able to operate. You've had landlords that have been beaten by tenants, literally beaten, physically beaten by tenants, only to have the city say, sorry, you have to allow this to happen. There's a lot of stuff that went down that was really wrong during this time period that I don't feel will be corrected anytime soon. It's going to take quite some time. And our new mayor that's going to take over the city in January, he's going to have his hands full. He will definitely have his hands full. It's not going to be an easy task for him. I could tell you that. I can assure you that it's not going to be an easy task. And for everybody thinking that the city is going to change overnight, it will not. It's going to happen in little bits and pieces. But I have faith. I have faith because I'm an eternal optimist. I am eternal optimist. Speaking of eternal optimists, when's Lou Tisano going on, Trevor? Lou, when's Lou going on? He's still doing Saturdays?
Yeah, he's on at 4:00.
Man, I miss having Lou right after me.
We got a new show coming after you.
Oh yeah, who do we got after me?
Yeah, it's a pre-recorded show that plays at 7 o'clock called Go Party Online.
What's the topic?
The name of the show is GoPartyOnline.org.
Go Party Online. All right, I gotta stay tuned after it so I can start partying because right now this is not a party. This is a real estate party over here. That's a different kind of party altogether. You know, there's been so many things to change. You know, like I'm gonna dive into everything one show at a time. I'm definitely going to be talking about the eviction moratorium and preparations towards January over the next couple of weeks as well. You know, there's been major changes here in Long Island and Queens that many may or may not know. I mean, there was a major takeover merger over the past few months. You know, you had Century 21 American Homes that merged with Coldwell Banker Residential Brokerage Realty and turned into one big monster of a real estate company, which I'm happy to be part of. You know, I was part of the Coldwell Banker side of it. And when the merger happened, they had retained the name of Coldwell Banker and basically took over the entire island going to Queens and Brooklyn almost overnight. So it's been very different right now. You know, the coverage that we have as a company has been really interesting. My role has changed dramatically over the past few months as well. I'm now managing an office. Aside from running my team and doing our everyday transactions, I'm actually managing the commercial office. I'm the director of commercial operations for the company. It spans from Suffolk to Nassau to Brooklyn to Queens. And it's not an easy task, but I am really up for the challenge. This is something that I feel that I was born to do, you know, run this kind of department. So I'm really happy. And that's part of the reason why I've been off the air for a while, because there's been so much that we've been doing after this merger that's been making it very difficult for me to be able to keep up with the social media and the radio show And a lot of the things that I would do on a daily basis, it was extremely challenging to be able to keep up with it. And instead of doing it a piecemeal, I preferred to just take a hiatus and focus on the things that needed to be focused, because the number one priority that I have as an individual is to my clients, to my responsibilities and work description. And I needed to make sure that they had that under a full handle and was able to move forward from that point. You know, it's a good scenario right now. I'm really, really happy with the way things are going. Not sure if people are actually watching right now on Facebook. I hope they are. But if they're not, they could watch it on the replay. Right now, I'm attempting to stream live from Facebook to YouTube. So I don't know if the people that are on Facebook, when they join the event, if they're hitting the video that's going to YouTube or they're watching within Facebook, but we'll get that all figured out. I'm just happy the internet's working here correctly. And we were able to get logged in seamlessly today. You could see my face today on 4K camera. So you could see every single blemish on my head and every single... We're getting sophisticated with the technology. We're getting sophisticated. You're laughing, huh? But we're getting there. I mean, it looks like there's a couple of people popping on right now. I can't tell where they're watching from, if they're watching from Facebook or if they're watching from YouTube. It's unclear to me. I'm seeing it all coming in from different directions. But I'm just happy people are on. And at the same time, I know that people are looking on listening on WGBB and doing the streaming media. So I want to make sure that everybody knows how to be able to catch the show, whether you're watching on YouTube and Facebook, and you're watching, or you're listening, watching. You want to collate both on the WGBB website. They do have the streaming media that happens through there. You can listen live as it goes on. You got a little camera, a little eye in the sky. You got Big Brother in here that's looking at me right in the corner. It's pretty, intimidating. That it's bad enough I got this camera that I'm looking at. I got another little eye in the sky that's looking at me. I got other cameras all over the place. They got this whole place wired. I don't know what to make out of it. It's something different. But you'll be able to see it through there. And obviously, you can listen to 1240 AM WGBB, and we got 95.9. It's 95.9, right? FM. So we got FM, we got AM, we got internet radio, we got YouTube, we got Facebook. If you want to hear me, you want to listen about real estate, especially local New York real estate, you got your ways to get on there. But we got multiple outlets now. So I think it's a really good change and adaptation that we've taken. And I'm trying to go through right now the Zoom platform of having the show go through there, where it feeds into the different outlets. And hopefully this improves the whole quality of the stream sound and everything. Now if you're watching and you have a hard time hearing me or anything like that, the only way for me to know is if you put something in the chat. Now, in the meantime, I'm going to be loosey-goosey today. Today is a feel-good type of show, getting back to business kind of thing. If you want to call in, you're more than welcome to at 516-623-1240. Again, the number is 516-623-1240. Nobody ever calls. All they want to do is put obnoxious comments. That's what I usually get. Oh, yeah, I get the internet comments that go on there because nobody wants to put their voice on the radio. But I'm putting it out there. Somebody wants to call in, they're more than welcome to. Absolutely more than welcome to. But a lot of changes. The Callis team has grown. We have another great member right now that's joined us. Besides having Harriet Trestellas and Mark Handler on the team, who have been basically me on my right and my left hand. You pick and choose which one is which. I also had the privilege of adding another great member, Irene Drivas, to the team. And it's going to be a really great 2022. A lot of people are worried about where this market is going. And, they're doing the, sky is falling, the whole Chicken Little thing. And they're all, you got all the pessimists out there. And I'll tell you something, I'm not the eternal optimist. I'm not the guy that's going to say everything's going to be rosy at all times. Are we going to get a correction sooner or later? Absolutely. That's how it works. We're going to get a correction. That's typically how it works. How big of a correction it is, time will tell. That we're not sure about. But at the pace that we're going, it is hard to predict of how this market is gonna pan out. There's been too many artificial type of elements that have affected us. I touched a little bit on the eviction moratorium, which honestly has been one of the major challenges that we have been facing. But besides that, we've had other obstacles. This whole supply and demand and supply inventory issue that we've been having is not something that is going to correct itself overnight. Everybody's been saying, well, the supply is going to catch up eventually, and I'm one of them. I've said that last year, at the beginning of the year. I said that sooner or later the supply is definitely going to somehow level things out, but for some reason or another, the supply chain has not caught up. The demand isn't healthy enough. There has been pushback. Believe me, there has been pushback as far as buyer sentiment and not having those rabid bidding wars on all scales that we were having at this time last year. But it's still happening in certain price brackets, without a doubt. We're looking at a market where I want to say from that $400,000 to $700,000 range, you put it on the market, it's going to sell. You price it accordingly and you price it correctly, it's going to sell pretty quickly. Pretty quickly. I say that with confidence because it's happening on a daily basis, without a doubt. It's not something that is artificially being put out there by the media and everything else. This is happening on a daily basis. So take it any way you want to take it. The supply chain has not caught up. We have not seen the end of this, you want to call it a bull market, if you want to get technical, like put in terms of how we refer to things in the stock market. You call this a bull market for real estate. It's still going on. And we're definitely going to be seeing more of a movement. Now, the places that are seeing some effects is, I'm not even touching the commercial, because commercial has a completely different element to it altogether. And I'm going to dedicate a show just to commercial type of space. But when it comes to residential, not all regions and not all areas are created equal. As far as the bidding wars and the rapid buying and selling in a day kind of situations. We're not having that all across the board, and we're not having that all across the board on every single price level. Just everybody needs to understand that. Once you hit that $1 million barrier, once you hit that $2 million barrier, once you hit that $3 million barrier, the $5 million barrier, and you get into specific type of areas, then you're talking about a scenario where things are not necessarily gonna be equal on all ends. It's just the way it is. The amount of people that are buying $500,000 houses or want $500,000 are not on the same level as the people that are buying $5 million houses. There's much less people that are buying $5 million houses than the people that are buying the 500,000. It's just common sense. So that's something that everybody needs to understand, that because you're getting this from a lot of sellers right now. They're putting their house on the market and they have a higher end house or the more expensive house in a more expensive region. And they're seeing what the media is saying. Oh, houses are selling quick. We're breaking new records at all times, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It doesn't equate on the same level on the houses that they're selling necessarily. It's just the way it is. And people don't realize that. They don't realize that. They're just taking little bits and pieces. And I say this all the time, that a little bit of information is dangerous. A little bit of information is very, very dangerous, because people take what they want to hear. They take what they want to hear and they apply it to themselves, and that's the end all be all. It's just how it is. We get that all the time. It's just something that people need to understand and be able to gravitate. Like I get a lot of this all the time. I get somebody that's well, my house is worth $3-4 million, $5 million. Not going to sell it for a penny less. Well, I understand your position, and I understand what you want, but is it justified? If the numbers are justified and the houses are selling for that rate, yes, I get it 100%. But if you're putting a number there just because you feel that that's the number, it's not the way to go about it. And the other thing that people need to understand, just because something sold 6 months ago, a year ago at that same rate, doesn't mean that you have that same buyer that's willing to pay the same price. And as you get into the more niche, the more high-end properties that you have less buyers for, you're going to have that issue. It's just the way it is. It sounds a little harsh the way I present it. And the one thing that anybody that's listened to the show understand the way where I'm coming from. You definitely understand. I'm not the kind of guy that's gonna sugarcoat things and mince words. I'm not that guy. I say things the way they are, and hopefully it resonates with you and you can understand where I'm coming from. Because it's just one of these things that a lot of times you got to get battered over the head with brute, the brute brawl. What's the best word? You're gonna get battered over the head with blunt force. There you go, blunt force, in order for you to gravitate to something. It's just how it is. And it's challenging. I'll tell you that much. It's challenging. And the biggest problem, the biggest challenge that we see all the time is a lot of the people that are running in the business, from my side of the business, the professionals that have never dealt with something like this before. They really have never dealt with something like this before. They don't have a good understanding and gravitation to how to deal with markets of this nature and how to deal with the mindsets of buyers and sellers during this type of market. You have a lot of people that have a hard time getting this. You have people that just hit the business, or they're wet behind the ears. They don't have a lot of experience. They've never had any type of understanding of how to deal in a bull market and a bear market kind of scenario. I'm just going to put it in simple terms: bear market and bull market. And what happens is they think that it's always going to be easy. I mean, at one point, not that long ago, if the house was there, it didn't even have to be completely standing. If it was there and you put a sign on it, it's gonna sell. And within reason, you could put whatever price you wanted on it, and it's gonna sell. That's how it was. And we've gone through these cycles before where you get hit with those. But now you're getting a little bit of resistance. And what's happening is you're getting a lot of these people that are not fully understanding, they're not fully comprehending of how to adjust. And it's damaging to the clients. It's damaging to a lot of the sellers out there. It's damaging to a lot of buyers, not giving them a full understanding of what the pulse of the market is. Just the way it is. And it's unfortunate. It truly is unfortunate. And people need to adapt and keep going. This market, the way we are right now at this given moment, could actually keep going the way it is for a few more months. It could go all the way through into 2022, for all I know. Because I'll tell you something, I'm not going to pretend I'm the guy that has a crystal ball, and I'm going to tell everybody with a definitive, this is what's going to happen. I could give you my professional opinion. I could give you my educated guess. But I'll tell you something, there's no way to be able to predict stuff. Who predicted coronavirus is going to hit us? And we're going to hit with a pandemic, and everything was going to shut down. Who predicted that? Nobody predicted that. Come on. Did you know that you were getting hit by a damn pandemic? And everything was going to shut down? And when we originally got hit with it, and everything went into lockdown, everything went into quarantine, and this and that, whatever, what was happening in the first few months? Nobody knew what to do. Nobody knew what to do. You can't predict these things. Now, if things are somewhat, look, can I even say normal anymore? Is there any grasp of what used to be normal still normal right now?
No.
I can't get it. I don't know if there is. I really don't. But let's pretend that things could get somewhat normal again. Let's pretend. Let's say that we can get normal again. It's going to take some time. And yes, I can make educated opinions, and I can make some predictions based on us going to a somewhat normal type of market situation, a somewhat life situation. I can do that and see where that goes. Within all understanding out there, we can figure out how to be able to keep these markets continuing going without having them fall completely apart. We can, but it's going to take a joint effort from not only a social aspect where people are, starting to get back into gear and get on with their lives and that kind of thing, but it's going to take a tremendous political effort to work with us. It's just how it is. It definitely is. So you know, you listen to a lot of these shows, you listen to a lot of these podcasts, you listen to a lot of these YouTubers that go on there and they give you their 2 cents. What I will tell you what I will say without any reservation, anybody that's talking in definitives, anybody that says it's guaranteed that this will happen is guessing. And actually, they're doing a disservice to the public. So listen to anything out there with a grain of salt. Whether it's coming from me, whether it's coming from the television, whether it's coming from the radio, whether it's coming from any source, whether it's coming to the newspaper, there's no definitives. Unless it already happened and it's a fact that it just happened, anybody else is sitting with the crystal ball trying to come up with their own predictions. So what I will tell you as a piece of advice, and take this to heart and really, really, really put this in your mind in order to be able to operate at the most optimal type of level. Take what you have today. Take what your needs and what your directives are for the future into full consideration, and let that be your guide to what you need to do, not only on a real estate level, on your financial level, on your investing level, on all these levels. I tell you to jump in blind. You do your research. You talk to the analysts. You read the reports. You take that into consideration. But here's the thing: if you're buying a house that you need to live in, you got to look at your situation. You're either going to rent or you're going to buy. Or you can live with mama and papa under their roof. But they're either renting or buying. There's only two options, really, of housing: renting or buying. It's just how it is. So if your goal is to be in a home and you need to live somewhere where we all need to live, I mean, we have options. We could be homeless and that kind of thing, and to each their own. If that's your plan and that's your end game, you want to be homeless, I could definitely understand that. But if you're like most of the world, you're gonna want to live under, in a home. And if you're going to be living in a home, you got to make the decision: am I going to bite the bullet now and buy it, or am I going to continue to pay rent? I never got the mentality. I never understood this mentality of people that said, "Well, the market's too expensive right now. I'm not going to buy a house because it's too expensive." But they continue to pay astronomical rates in rent that you can't do anything with. There's no write-offs. There's no financial benefits to paying somebody else's mortgage off when you could be paying your own. That's the way I look at it. If you have, let's just say, just for argument's sake, let's say you're paying $2,000 in rent. Just saying, and depending on where you are and what part of the state you are and which county you are in town, 2,000 could go a lot of different directions. You could go into parts of the city where you can't even get a studio for $2,000 a month. Or you could go all the way out in Suffolk County and you get a whole house for $2,000 a month. There really is all different directions. But, let's just say $2,000 a month. And you have the opportunity to be able to make a purchase where your mortgage would be, let's say, $2,000, $2,500 a month. But you're feeling that you're overpaying at this point. Well, you know what? How long are you going to wait? Are you going to wait another year? Are you going to wait another 2 years? for the market to drop and you get a 10% correction? Is that what you're looking for? Well, how many months did you just let pass? If it's a year, that's $24,000. So that house that you would have been buying has to drop another $24,000 to say that it was justified you waiting. Let's say you're waiting 2 years. That house has to drop down another $48,000 to justify that it was worth you waiting. And that's all the time that you could have been building equity in your own home. I'm just making it very simple and pointing it out in a way where hopefully people can gravitate and understand. I'm not telling you to go and pay $1 million for a house that's worth $400,000. And you'd be insane to do so. But if we're talking about a house that's worth $500,000 and you're paying $525,000 for it right at this moment, it's something to consider. There's a lot of animosity happening right now between buyers and sellers. And we're going to dedicate an entire show of mindsets of buyers and mindsets of sellers. And I'd like to actually have some people come on live and possibly even throw their 2 cents and let me know their thoughts from both sides of the plate. I think that would be probably ideal for a lot of the audience and a lot of the listeners to be able to hear and understand what's going on, because there's a lot of frustration. There's a lot of frustration. There's a tug of war. We're dealing with a tug of war right now, as far as people that are, trying to figure out what their next move should be. And I get it from a lot of the buyers. I get it. They've really, really been frustrated, of getting caught in bidding wars and losing one house after the other. I get it. I understand it. It's frustrating. If you're trying to get into that home, your first home, and every single time you're going in, getting into bidding war, and you're losing out by $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, it's frustrating. It's heartbreaking. But that's the market right now. And eventually, you'll be in a position where you will get that biggest bid. And and I tell this to buyers all the time, if you're holding back on a purchase of $500,000, $750,000, $1 million, and just out of pride, you're saying, I am not going to give an extra $5,000 to purchase this house, and then you lose it, and then you cry that you lost it. Well, that's your perspective. That's your reason. You're the person that decided not to pay that extra money to get it. And I'm not saying that you should. Everybody has the full ability and right to make the decision on their own, and whether it's based on principle or any other factor, it's their right. If it's a financial decision where you just can't afford it, that's completely understandable. You're not going to go past your means, or you just won't be able to secure it past your means. You give it your best fighting chance, and you move on. You won't get that one, you get the next one. But if you do have the means and you do have the finances to be able to purchase it, and you're just doing it out of pride or spite or that kind of thing, then you're being foolish. Because I've had this happen many, many times where people, out of pure pride, they say, there's not a chance. There's not a chance I'm going to pay them an extra $1,000, $5,000, $2,000, even $500. There's not a chance. And then 6 months later, they say, I should have bought it at that time. Well, you know what? It comes down to shoulda, woulda, coulda. It really does. It truly does. And it happens in every single sector. It's not only the real estate market. It happens in every single sector. How many people turn around and say, well, I should have bought Tesla when it was worth $100 a share? I'm sure anybody today will buy a share of Tesla at that price and maybe multiple shares, no way it's gonna crash. I'm refuse. I'm gonna wait till it goes down $1, $2, $5 before I buy it. And then what happens? It starts going boom, 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 boom. All it does is go higher and higher and higher. And they're looking at it like, oh, it's gonna drop, it's gonna, and they're still waiting with their hands out, waiting for it to drop, and it never dropped. Now, I don't know if that's ever going to happen. If the market takes a hit, and probably will take a correction as well. The stock market. How much further down it's going to go, I don't know. But I could tell you something: the prices that a lot of these stocks were 5 years ago, they're not going to go back down to them. A lot of them, at least the quality stuff. Same thing applies in the real estate market. We're not very different when it comes to that. And a lot of people want to become experts and specialists, and they know all the answers. And I'll tell you something, I'm in the business for about 20 years. And I could tell you with absolute certainty that I don't have all the answers. I'm pretty spot on most of the time. And I got a really, really good idea of what needs to happen, of what direction we're going, and how to adapt, and et cetera. But I'll tell you with absolute certainty, I do not have all the answers. And anybody that turns around and does tell you that, then you know what? You come to me after, and I'll sell you the Brooklyn Bridge, because you're willing to feed into anything and believe anything. I could assure you of that. Trevor, you want to buy the Brooklyn Bridge?
No, I ain't got that kind of money.
I give you a good price.
That's all right. I don't think-
But you get what I'm saying. Everybody's doing the would've, could've, should've game. Everybody's doing that. Hoping the audio is coming out good on the feeds. I know it's coming out good on the radio, but I don't know if it's coming out good on the feeds. I'd see people hopping in, hopping out, hopping in, hopping out. I could tell from the streaming, the thing, Zoom gives me, how many concurrent viewers and all this, and people are hopping in, hopping out. I don't know who's actually sticking it through to tell me if they could hear me or not. Hopefully they can. But I'm excited. I'm excited to be back in studio. And it's a great time of year to be back. Right before the holidays. Thanksgiving's coming around. I think it's a really, really great time of the year to be back in. I'm getting into the Christmas spirit. Even though I don't know how much I'm going to be in the city during the Christmas, because that's one of my favorite things to do in the holidays is go to the Rockefeller Center and see the Christmas tree and see everything that, makes the city great during Christmas. I don't know if I'm going to do that this year. Oh, you got me on. And you can hear me? That's it. You're the man. Thank you. All right, that answers my question. But I don't know. Are you going to do the whole Christmas drive through of the city, Christmas tree, Rockefeller Center? Are you going to do all that? Nope. Isn't that sad though? That's going to see the tree and grabbing some chestnuts from the guy in the street that you can't understand a word he says to you. That's the whole New York thing.
I know, right?
A dirty water dog and a pretzel. That's what, honestly, these are the things that like put smiles on my face during Christmas time here in the city. And I don't know if I'm going to do it. First of all, if usually what I would do with my family is go see the tree, go see something, go see the decorations, maybe watch that whole light show that they do against what is it, Saks Fifth Avenue, that building that they do the light show on. I don't remember which building it is that they do that on, but you go and see that, and then we'll go and grab something to eat, and we'll places in the city. I can't even do that. I can't even do that. First of all, the vaccination laws that they have in place is making it very, very tough to go into any gathering place in the city. And one of the things that I'm anti, you could call me whatever you want. You could call me pro, negative, this, that, anti-vaxxer, whatever you want to call me. I'm not going to stick my kids with any kind of vaccine until an extended period of time passes through. My kids are young. I have a 6-year-old. I have a 12-year-old. I have a 14-year-old. They're all growing. They're all going through their hormones. They're all going through their whole processes. I'm not going to stick them with vaccines and stuff like that until I know that everybody else has been the guinea pigs first. You could do anything you like to me, but I'm not letting anything be done to my kids. Simple as that. And if it means that we're going to get deprived of having a dinner in a restaurant in the city, go be it. So be it. But who's that really hurting? Is it hurting us? Maybe it's better for us. We'll save some money. We eat at our house. We make a meal for ourselves. I'll tell you something. I don't know how well the health inspectors are running around now because they're so busy giving fines for people with sidewalk cafes and capacity counts. I don't think they're really going after actually seeing health code violations. So maybe it's better. Maybe it's better. But it's something that is going to be a challenge in the city. I touched on the landlords. I talked on some of the businesses, the restaurants, the hell that they had to go through in the 5 boroughs. Honestly, it's not right. And some, don't get me wrong, some businesses have thrived. They've done better than they ever did. The ones that were fully equipped to do takeout service, delivery service, all that stuff, they did great. Some of them broke records. Some of them did. But for every one that did, you have another that's on the point of collapse right now. And you have a lot of places that have not even yet reopened yet. It's a problem. It's a challenge. What are you going to do with that? And you say, okay, you're talking about business. Well, first of all, small businesses, restaurants are the lifeblood of our entire infrastructure. Whoever wants to believe that or not, they are. And how does it affect you in real estate? Well, I'll tell you how it affects you in real estate. All these places either own their buildings or they're leasing from somebody. If their businesses are going under, well, guess what? Everybody that's attached to it is going under as well. And that includes landlords, that includes vendors, services that are affiliated to that building. It affects the banks, the lenders that have mortgages on this place, where you have the mortgagees that are not able to pay the debts. It's a whole chain. It's a domino. And people don't really realize that. It's a challenge. It's tough. But it's something that we're going to need to address sooner than later. Definitely sooner than later. And I hope, because this guy, de Blasio, he's not going to do a thing until he leaves. Now he's going to do whatever. Let's see how much damage he does before he leaves. How much damage do you think he'll do before he leaves, Trevor? And for everybody that says, well, now that he's out, now you're opening your mouth and saying about it. No. If you listen to any of the old radio shows that I was on, did I ever hold back on saying anything about de Blasio? Did I hold anything back about Cuomo? That's just me. I'm going to say it the way it is. And I don't care if you're a Democrat or if you're a Republican or if you're a whatever the hell you are. It doesn't matter to me. All I want is to be able to function on a proper level. And I don't care what political party you're from. Just do the right thing. Be pro-business. Be pro-productivity. Be pro being decent to human beings. How about that? Let's just be decent to your citizens, the people that are paying your taxes, the people that pay your damn salaries. Speaking of which, this is interesting, the direction we might take with Bitcoin going forward. And I don't know how that's going to affect us in the real estate. And I'll tell you something, I'm going to be monitoring that, and my eyes are going to be on it like a hawk, because it's going to be very, very interesting. But that being said, I'm not going to start a new topic. We're getting to the end of the show. We didn't really talk about anything today, anything more than normal, but it is just a great way to get back on the horse and, just get the old feel back and be back in WGBB. So I do appreciate everybody that's been listening to me on the radio. I'm appreciative to everybody that's been watching here on YouTube, everybody that's caught us on the Facebook event stream. I appreciate you all. Have a fantastic night. I appreciate Trevor. And good night, everyone. Have a great week. Make lots of money in real estate, and I will be with you next week. I promise you, I will be with you next week, unless I'm dead. I promise you, I'm going to be back next Monday, 6 to 7, just like every single week with the Real Estate Plate. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you.